Dear Leeds fans, have you got flashbacks? Ladies and gentlemen, we have got an absolute bombshell dropping on the channel because this is not just a normal team went down, let's talk about it video, because I've done that a few times. This is another level of collapse, and it is only just typical that, of course, the team that is collapsing is Leeds United. Now, by the way, just to start off, I know that some Leeds fans may get defensive because of the title of the video, but trust me, I'm on your side here. I'm not here to gloat or point a finger and say, well, hey, you know, I'm not that kind of guy. What is happening at Leeds United is a joke, but something that could have been seen coming from a mile away. If you do not know about the recent news at Leeds United, then let me drop you the latest piece. Big headline: The Athletic. Leeds owner Andrea Radrizzani offered Elland Road as security in deal to buy Sampdoria. Now, it may sound weird, but I've actually listened to quite a lot of Leeds content, especially at one Leeds fan channel, Connor and them lads, so I've been keeping up to date, and it's a mess, I'm not gonna lie. Everything to do with the majority owner Radrizzani, to their director of football and Victor Rota, who has now gone. Everything to do with the 49ers, and yes, it is 49ers. I did say 69ers last video, I do apologise, but it still sounds kind of funny, so I'm gonna act like I did that on purpose. So we are going to break down the state of affairs at Leeds United, so tell me down below in the comments, what are you thinking, especially if you are indeed a Leeds fan. Please don't scream and shout at me, I'm on your side here. I'm only just passing the information of how much of a mess it is, and you guys must be like beyond pissed right now. Tell me your thoughts down below. Tell me where's your mind at, because really I can't see this being good news in terms of the up and coming season. You need to get moving now. You need to start making your plans now, and you can't do that when your main owner is overseas trying to woo a different club. So tell me your thoughts down below, smash the like button, and also subscribe if you are new. Don't forget 8% for the Father's Day sale at my design company, mazzoladesigns.co.uk, link down below, top of the description, and let's get straight into it. Bosh. So, if you've been hiding underneath a rock, Leeds United have been relegated from the Premier League, going down to the Championship after a terrible season under some awful management and some awful decisions up top. This has been coming from a mile away, with Leeds staying up last year. The writing was already on the wall if they didn't make a change. In the summer, selling their main key assets in Calvin Phillips and, of course, Rafinha, and replacing them with players that either weren't very good or just didn't get played. Let's have a nice cheeky look at transfermarkt.com, and we can see some of the players that they brought in. So the most expensive signing in Brendan Aronson, RB Salzburg, American, joining into that, you know, RB system that, of course, Jesse Marsch is bringing in. And it's not been a great time for him, with 28 starts and 8 times to the bench, only 1 goal and 3 assists, which is not good enough for a number 10. He is still quite young at the age of 21, but you would expect better from the price tag. Next up, an absolute calamity year in Jorginho Rutter. Again, another young signing from overseas, from the Hoffenheim, for around £25 million. And guess how many times he's played? Once. He started 1 game. I mean, technically, yeah, he did get 11 appearances, but they are off the bench, and the main majority were 12-minute, 15-minute, maybe 24-minute kind of periods. He didn't get given a chance. So you've got £15 million plus with 1 goal and 4 assists. Good job. Since the era, a big signing from Feyenoord for around above £22 million. Now, he actually was a good player. Unfortunately for him, he picked up an injury along the way across the entire year. That's really stunted his impact on the team. We can quickly list them more as well. Tyler Adams, a really good player as well, one of the best players of the entire year, but again, picked up injuries near the end of the year, and if they had Tyler Adams in a team still near the end of the year, maybe things could have been different, because he was a big part of that midfield. Christensen is terrible from what I've gathered from Leeds United fans. I can't speak on him myself, but from what I've been told, he's been really, really poor. Volbert as well has been decent, signed in January for about £10 million as well. Potentially one of the best defensive players, however, in their defence, it's not hard to do that. Weston McKennie on loan, who kind of faded away with time and just really ended on a sour note. And then Willy Gnonto as well, who was one of the most exciting, you know, talented forwards who can actually create something. And then when Big Sam came in, and even during the Gracia stint as well, he just didn't get played. One of the best attacking talents, he didn't get played. The treatment of Willy Gnonto is just baffling to me, I can't lie. Ever since Marcelo Bielsa left the club, there's been a massive gap within the fan base and a massive disconnect, because you can't go from years and years of just no hope and just complete sadness and depression, which is what Leeds fans have experienced in the last decade before Bielsa. Bielsa comes in, gives the not just the club but also the entire city hope of becoming a mainstay back in the Premier League like the good old days. And then they actually do achieve that, playing fantastic, fast-paced, aggressive, entertaining football, which Leeds United in their first year in the Premier League was like a lot of people's second team. It was very common that I heard people from overseas say that they watched Leeds games, even though they aren't a Leeds fan, more than any other team, because they always found it entertaining, and they weren't lying. The Bielsa style of play, very aggressive on the front foot, man to man, and just that kind of murder ball play style was really exciting, and it meant that you never really got a boring drab 0-0 draw. It was always goals galore. Leeds back in the Premier, scoring goals. They got to the main man as a manager, and also a 9th place finish. It was going quite well. Now, I did go into in detail why Bielsa left the club, so if you do want to watch that video, then go and check it out. But in the grand scheme of things, basically Bielsa was quite stubborn with his team selection, and in the end his teams did run out of steam, that his players were injured quite a lot of the time because of his play style, because of his training methods, and in the end they just ran out of gas. The results were poor and they just didn't add to the team. Bielsa always wanted a pretty small squad, so when injuries did come up, it then led to the kids having to take spots which they weren't ready for. For some of these fans, they saw that Bielsa probably had to go, but it had to be the right man to take his place, and the man to take his place was a completely different man altogether. Jesse Marsch, who came from a Red Bull philosophy, different play style, very narrow football. The transitional phases was completely different to what they previously played, and was just an entirely different team and philosophy altogether. And they went all out. They went balls deep. They went all into the RB Red Bull philosophy from RB Salzburg or RB Leipzig, and taking RB players like Volber and Christensen as well, and they almost became like the RB team in England pretty much, and they had to commit to that. They had to commit to the players to fit that system, and it didn't work. Jesse Marsch, although I think is, a good man, I don't think he's a bad person or anything, but when it comes to tactically, people compared him to being a motivational speaker pretty much. And after Leeds United lost away to Nottingham Forest and Jesse Marsch got sacked, they had to bring a new man in, and the man he brought in was someone completely different altogether in Javi Gracia, who had previous, poor stints at Watford, for example. He went to Valencia and did really poor there as well, and again played a completely different style to what Jesse Marsch played, or to what Bielsa played. So when he went in, he had an decent start actually. He got a few wins under his belt, beating Southampton in their first game 1-0, then beating Wolves away 4-2, got a decent draw against Brighton, and even beat Forest in their return fixture 2-1. Very fast, with a demolishing at home by Crystal Palace 5-1, being demolished again by Liverpool 6-1, losing 2-1 away at Fulham, and in an absolute must-win game against Leicester at home they drew, and in another absolute must-win game away at Bournemouth they got battered 4-1, and his tenure was over. So then, with sacking Javi Gracia, they had to make another decision, and that was with 4 games left to go. They then went balls deep and brought out the man himself, Big Sam Allardyce. They gave the man 4 games, and they gave him some tough games too. They gave him Man City away, Newcastle at home, West Ham away, and Tottenham at home. So, they got 1 point out of 12, and they went down with a whimper, losing to Spurs 4-1. And if you want to see how bad it was, then I beg of you to go and look back Lucas Moura's 4th goal. The worst defending that I have ever seen from a Premier League game. And as I listened to One Leeds, or listened to the Square Ball podcast, to which both I've listened to quite a lot recently to get an update on what's going on at Leeds, it's a complete calamity. It felt like it was a testimonial game for Lucas Moura, and they just had to have him score. So just like that, Leeds United are down, and with the championship on the horizon, as it starts a week or 2 early, they've got to make their moves now. And for me, I've always kind of been consistent with the fact that if Leeds do go down, I am really concerned for them, because yes, of course they will have money. They've got big money anyway because of the size of the club, but also they can sell 1 or 2 assets like a Tyler Adams to bring some money in, and they've also got, of course, parachute payments that can help massively in the championship. Of course, as we all know, the issue is that you need a manager immediately, which they do not have, and I don't know if they are even trying to get one, because their ownership is a complete state, as their main owner or majority owner, Andrea Radrizzani, is currently away wooing Sampdoria. Yes, in that final game of the year when they went down, they put out a statement on the Leeds website with no name attached to it. A generic chat GPT, just basic ass apology, your statement, nothing to own any responsibility of what has happened over the last 12 to 18 months at Leeds United, and that is in itself pathetic. The main majority owner, Andrea Vizeh, was not there. They weren't there to take the flag. And this is when we go all the way back to the start of this video, which is the news from The Athletic today, which is the main point of this video, but I had to give context in terms of how did we get to this stage, pathetic mistakes that's happened along the way to come to this massive, just poetic a cappella of just complete nonsense. The Athletic by Adam Crafton and Phil Hay saying Leeds United chairman Andrea Vizeh offered to use the club's Elland Road Stadium as security for a £26 million bank loan, which his company intended to use to complete a takeover of Sampdoria. Elland Road, the stadium of Leeds United Football Club, would be collateral and act like collateral as part of a deal. During this entire time, Leeds United and the 49ers have been in discussions to acquire control of the club, and at the moment no agreement has yet been reached. And to make matters worse, as this 49ers agreement is a very big key part of what can move the club forward, they weren't even informed, they weren't told that the stadium would be put forward as security for a potential loan. They weren't even told. Not only were the 49ers not informed, but other Leeds board members, including the club's chief executive, Angus Kinnear, were not told about the proposal as well. And then, somehow, it has got worse because Vizeh replied back to The Athletic, who went out of their way to research and to ask questions about this news. And this is what the club owner of Leeds United had to say. He said, "What Acer Ventures does with its assets, which includes several companies, including Leeds United, Greenfield and Elland Road, it's none of your business. You can do what you want, but you are just trying to put Leeds United fans against myself. It is not nice." Oh, boo-hoo, the multi-billionaire Andrea Vizeh is angry because there's some mean things said about him online involving him using the stadium of a football club, but the community using it as collateral, and not even informing the board members, and including the board members was actually the 49ers that hasn't even agreed a full deal with them yet and still wants to become a majority owner of the club. People are hoping that Vizeh would leave the club and would take a step down, and 49ers can actually go and take more ownership of the club to actually implement their own ideas, improve the facilities, improve the stadium. And if the stadium has this risk on top of it, then they will not want anything to do with it. This one thing could potentially destroy any hope of the 49ers having any involvement on the club. Sheer arrogance, and it's negligence. The fact that he wasn't there when he went down because he was wooing over in Italy, he didn't put his name under anything. That's the fact they went down as well. This is coming from the same guy that when they only just survived by the skin of their teeth last year, he then said in an interview that it is impossible for Leeds to go down after selling Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, their two best players, and bringing in some young talent which wasn't experienced and wasn't guaranteed, like Brennan Aronson, like Jorginho Rutter, that both have been poor this season, and in the case of Rutter hasn't even played. The fact that he said that it is impossible for Leeds to go down shows the sheer incompetence of the man, and it is absolutely a very concerning time for Leeds United. And if I was a fan of Leeds, then I would be very concerned, and I would just be scared, because it sounds like to me that Leeds are being controlled by a madman and he doesn't care. And when he said that what we do is none of your business, to me that says a big f*** you to not just the Athletic, journalists, but also the fans as well. And when there's a big championship season coming up that you're going to be on the ball very fast to get ready for the new up and coming season, you can't be messing around, and the board is not even there to even start off the new campaign. Who's the new manager? We don't know, because they're not even thinking about it. What's going to happen to the players? Who will be sold? We don't know, because they're not there to do anything about it. And who will come in? What's the transfer recruitment? We don't know, because there's no one there to do anything about it. It's a complete mess. So tell me thoughts down below. Leeds right now are on a dangerous fence here, and they are tilting on one side of it where they could fall apart all over again. I guess that's the beauty of Leeds. It's never boring, I guess. Yeah, tell me your thoughts down below, smash a like button, also subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time for another video. Peace out.